Welcome back, everybody, to Unchurned. I'm your host, Josh Schachter, and today is one of those rare episodes where we get to capture a true milestone, not just for a company, but for the two people sitting here with me. If you've read the title of this episode or you've seen the news on LinkedIn, you already know. Nick Mehta is passing the torch to Chuck Ganapathi as the next CEO of Gainsight. Transitions like this are about so much more than a press release. They're about leadership, trust, legacy. And today we get to hear about this one from both sides. The person who's led the company through defining moments and the person now stepping up to carry that vision forward. I feel genuinely honored to have them both here together right at this moment. Nick, rather than my going on, would you do the honors and tell us, in your own words, what are you announcing today?
Wait, we're announcing something?
I don't know. Why are we here?
I have no idea. Wait, okay, this is not the GPT-5 launch.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, we're doing something different. All right, so we are announcing, in all seriousness, some big news for Gainsight and for me personally, and for Chuck as well, I think, which is after about almost 13 years being really privileged to lead Gainsight, I'm passing the baton on to my good friend and our president for the last couple of years, Chuck Ganapathi. Congratulations, Chuck.
Thank you.
So you're the former CEO of Gainsight.
I guess so. Yeah. As of right now.
I feel weird.
Yeah. Former emeritus.
Emeritus.
CEO emeritus.
CEO emeritus.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, what are the emotions that you're feeling right now as you say that?
You know, people always use those words, that word bittersweet. It's weird. It's just the sweet and not the bitter. The sweet is like gratitude for just being part of this incredible journey. I mean, you've been there, Josh, and you've seen the last couple of years of it, this amazing community. Like, it's just incredible from where it was to now, and just being able to witness it. Pride in the team that like we built, the culture, the products, obviously all the customers ascending, and then excitement for what's going to happen in the future. Because, you know, great companies become even greater with transitions. I know Gainsight's going to be.
Everybody's going to ask, why now, Nick? You know, what's up right now? But I don't want to ask you why now. We will ask you why now. But I want to know, why not sooner? You built the company. How many people were at the company when you first joined Gainsight?
I mean, just a small single digits. Yeah.
Single digits, yeah. Right? Nearly 1,000 now. Revenues, you know, in the multiples upon multiples. You sold the company to Vista, to, you know, the preeminent private equity company out there. So why not sooner? I mean, you could have rode off in the sunset a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's funny because like I was at this after we did the deal with Vista, and you know, we were very fortunate to partner with them, and it was a great kind of exit from a financial perspective for our investors, our employees, and all that. I was at VC dinner. You've been to a lot of these over the years, right? And I'd been to so many VC dinners where I'm like the entrepreneur, and there's some like experienced CEO, and you're trying to learn from that experienced CEO. And I didn't even realize it, but I guess I was like the experienced CEO around this table. And there was this entrepreneur, who shall remain nameless, but is very, very nice, very smart. And he was sitting next to me to my right. And, you know, we're having the dinner and having the wine, all that. And he's like, you just sold Gainsight to Vista. Why aren't you doing something new right now? And I was like, look, a few things. Number one, I was really excited to see this next chapter of the company. Like, I learned so much in the last, it's almost 4.5 years working with Vista. I've learned so much. I feel like Gainsight's come so far.
What's the most salient, acute thing that you think you've learned in the past, post private equity?
I learned what EBITDA means. No, I'm just kidding. I sort of knew that before, but I knew how important. No, I learned actually, honestly, from just the incredible network of other CEOs who run companies of this size. You know, we're well past 200 million in revenue, right? And learning from these companies of like, what does it mean to build a business that's built to last, right? And, you know, people joke about EBITDA and profit, but the truth is, like, great companies are ones that can actually survive and keep going, right? And I remember in the early days of Gainsight, I would wear my employee count as a badge of honor, like how many employees we had at Gainsight. And later on, I'm like, look, it's really cool to be efficient so you can deliver more value to your customers and better innovation and things like that. And so I learned like just the power of being a well-run business. That was like one thing I learned. But going back to your question, why didn't I do it then? Well, I mean, number one, I wanted to learn for sure. Number two, I thought there's a huge new chapter in Gainsight. Number three, I didn't want to go do something new till I felt really good about the team and the situation of the business and all that. And then as some folks know, I've dealt with some stuff outside of work, some personal stuff that's been hard the last couple of years. So there's this kind of, okay, I really would like to do something, just get a break. You know, I'm just being vulnerable. All of us need it. At Gainsight, we talk about human first business, and like, I'm a human being first. As much as I might pretend to be an AGI, I'm actually human. And so, but I didn't want to go, leave the ship without a great new captain and also a great new crew. And as we'll talk about, we're really fortunate at Gainsight to have just incredible people up and down, long timers, but also new folks, much like yourself, Josh. Welcome to Gainsight.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's been an amazing ride in just these quick couple of first weeks. And thank you, by the way, for sharing that vulnerability, for being so human, because you've been an ombudsman for the entire community and people look up to the way that you operate and your LinkedIn posts and what you share there. So, as somebody who has looked up to you outside of Gainsight within the community, I think it's wonderful that you share, so publicly everything that you do.
And I love that you said I'm an ombudsman. I was voted most likely to be an ombudsman when I was in high school. So that's actually like, I've achieved my life dream.
It's on your year.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Chuck, what was your superlative in high school? Year?
Not ombudsman.
We'll get to that. Okay, cool. So Chuck, now Nick has shared his emotions very openly as he does in this moment. This is your moment now. In this moment, what does it mean to you to be the CEO of Gainsight?
I mean, this is an amazing feeling. This is a incredible company that Nick and the Gainsight team has built. And I'm so thankful and so grateful for the opportunity, most of all, to take on the reins from Nick and build on what he has built over the years. And I look at what the company has done with the community. We certainly have our set of challenges as an industry in SaaS and in customer success, but I think the future is really bright and it's a perfect time to really chart the course to the future. I'm super excited to be taking on this role.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Let's reel it back for a second here. I want to learn about how you guys met, because I know you've known each other for a while. So tell me, what's the origin story of Nick and Chuck?
It goes back
It's a long story.
to a previous century, if you can believe it. A little bit makes us look really old.
We are really old.
Kind of no. Yeah. We're just getting started, Chuck. Come on. 1998. Go back to 1998. What was happening in the world in 98? We were
prepping for Y2K.
We're preparing for Y2K.
Yeah.
What are we listening to back then? Third Eye Blind, probably. Still pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It was a good time.
How old was Taylor Swift in 1998?
She was born in 1989, as you know, December 13th, 1989, as everyone knows. So she was 9 years old. Little Taylor was 9 years old. The Apple dream in her eye of writing Tim McGraw and start becoming a sensation. And I was I just graduated college. Was very fortunate. A classmate of mine had an idea for a startup, and I was a co-founder of this little company that we had in college. And it was an e-commerce company selling golf clubs over the web. And we graduated from college and basically moved to California, lived in my co-founder's parents' house in Saratoga, which annoyed them to no end. The parents, they were like, get out of here as quickly as possible.
But that's a rite of passage.
It was
for a successful startup.
so cliche. We worked in the garage, and then we raised money from some awesome VCs like Sequoia Capital and others. Really lucky. Very much like sign of the dot-com time. Some folks, a lot of people probably watching don't know what the dot-com was, but they've heard the term. It was like this crazy bubble. And it was
Did you guys drop out of college though?
We did not. See, that's why we
Good
did.
for you.
The company wasn't as successful as it could
Yeah,
have been.
if you had dropped out of college, it'd be a billion-dollar company right now.
It's so sad. And so we basically we come out to California and we raised venture capital, and we were actually like for like a hot minute this real kind of hot company with like commercials and billboards and all that. You just see it's all this venture capital flowing everywhere, right? And speaking of flowing everywhere, we needed people. And of course, back then it was like, we got to go hire the people from the Stanfords and other schools.
And this
right?
is pre-PE era for you. So this is when,
I didn't know what PE was.
You didn't know, but this was not EBITDA that you were tracking so closely. You wanted people, you wanted growth.
I think we had financial statements. I don't think any of them were right. I think we actually didn't know how to calculate profit. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, everything we learned. I mean, I was in business school at that time, and I think we'll get to that part of the story. And, everything we were learning in business school, you look outside in the valley, this is 97 to 99 was when I was in business school, like none of that made any sense because what we were being taught in business school was not what was being practiced. It's kind of like right now, people are learning computer science in college, And what's happening with AI is going to make most of that obsolete.
Well, people were gunslinging billboards about online commerce for golf clubs.
We had billboards on 101. Many, if you were driving up and down the highway, then you would have seen them. We had I was running marketing, and my most genius idea was we had a putter. Yeah, we made golf clubs. We had a putter, and I was like, what if we just sold the putter for $1? Now the putter costs like $50. So that turns out to be a really good way to burn a lot of money. And we sold a lot of putters, but we needed a lot of people at this little startup, Chip Shot. And so
Chip Shot was just so you know, Chip Shot was on Time Magazine,
Business Week.
Business Week. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
On the cover of
Business Week and all kinds of other.
It was a hot startup.
And
He's being very humble. It was a hot startup back then.
I'm trying to erase it from history because of so then we were recruiting, and we went to Stanford because we were in the Bay Area, and we did a bunch of different things. We went to Stanford undergrad. Actually, Chuck didn't go to this, but it's to recruit Stanford undergrads. We at some point had the idea, what if we just rented out a bar and gave out free alcohol to all Stanford students? And it turns out like that attracts like 1,000 people in line.
Blue Chalk, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Blue Chalk, you got it. And then, but the MBA students were a little more classy, so we went to see them, I think in a basement, if I'm not.
Basement of the business
Yeah.
school.
And so I did meet Chuck, and I did try to recruit him, but I don't know, what did you say?
Yeah, so it was this a career fair at the business school. I think I was in, second year of business school in late 98, early 99. And then I go to this one table, a bunch of what looks like college kids recruiting for their company, chipshot.com. And I distinctly remember meeting Nick there. Now, many, many years later, I would have recognized him at that time. But back then I was like, what are these guys doing? And he pitched us. Yeah. He pitched all the students that were lining up at their table. It was pretty interesting. Everybody wanted to work at a .com. So that's when I met Nick, and he tried to recruit me.
I have this scene in my mind where you've got like a table, you've got John Doerr on one side recruiting for VC, you've got like Larry and Sergey, and then you've got Nick for Chip Shot in the middle.
Exactly.
Like, hey, Chuck, come work for me. We're selling golf clubs.
Though. There was another career fair in the engineering school. I was also part of the engineering school where Sergey was actually at a table.
Wow.
Yeah. You should have taken that one.
Actually at a table with, remember the old Google logo? The one that was like crayon drawn? Yeah, it was one of those kinds of
oh my God.
sheets. And it was Sergey.
I
was
should
like,
have gone to that
weird
table.
guy. Yeah, like, who is this weird guy?
Wow.
What is this search engine? Yeah. Yahoo was king back then too, right? Yeah. So anyway.
I have not heard. That's an awesome story. Yeah. I love that. It's amazing.
He used to personally recruit at the engineering school.
It's amazing. And that's just what happens. Like, our paths just kept crossing. That was back then. And then we both went off. Chuck did amazing things, Siebel, which is pioneer in CRM, obviously Salesforce we'll talk more about, right? Yeah. And then I was running a startup and we needed to partner with Salesforce. And there's a guy named Tom McCleary at Salesforce who, shout out to Tom, reconnected Chuck and I because we wanted to partner with, Chuck was running Chatter. That's right. Which is like Slack before Slack, right?
That's right.
That was like pioneering enterprise social network.
Yeah, Tom introduced us, and Nick was CEO of a company called Live Office, and he had this great idea that what they were doing for email discoverability also will apply to messaging, because messaging was the future of email. And I was running the messaging product at Salesforce, which is called Chatter. So we met through Tom, who was our partnerships leader. And when I met him, I was like, I have seen this guy somewhere. He reminds me of someone I've met. So I was like, hey, Nick, did you ever recruit at Stanford Business School? And he was like, yes. I was like, what was the name of that golf company? Was it Upshot? He was like, no, that's the CRM company, right? Chipshot. And we kind of connected, I don't know, like 2009. It was like 10 years after the original meeting that we had, 1998.
It's crazy. And then our paths diverged again, right? Yeah. And then they converged again because both of us were entrepreneurs at heart, and I was going to go figure out my next thing and sold my last company. And I was going to go do an EIR, entrepreneur in residence, which is some made up job in the Valley where you basically spend time with VCs. And at this firm called Excel Venture Partners, was a great, great firm. And Chuck had just done that same thing, right before me, I think.
Right before you.
Yeah. So I wanted some advice from you, and we met up again.
That's right. And then we talked about customer success, and he was going to go off and build Gainsight. I was running my startup called Tac.ai, And in fact, I think I went back and looked at some of our email archives.
You introduced me to
Wait, did he
so
recruit
many
you?
people.
I know.
Were you trying to recruit him at that time?
No, he
No.
was doing his own startup. No,
So I did.
no.
So I left Salesforce and then I went to Excel as an EIR and I started my company. When I started my company is when he was at Excel. So he replaced me at Excel as an EIR. And then he started Gainsight. I was already doing my startup and he said, hey, you're obviously an ex-Salesforce guy. You're well connected into the Salesforce ecosystem. And customer success actually was born at Salesforce, right? So he was like, hey, and I think I was probably your best connection into Salesforce.
You
ecosystem
introduced
at
me
that
to
time.
so many people. I mean, you were just reminding me of
Yeah,
this, right?
yeah,
Naracha,
I-
all these people, right? Like
Maria,
Naracha. I mean, it's amazing.
So
all
I went
these
back.
early connections that
Yeah.
mattered so much for Gainsight, like started
Yeah.
with Chuck.
Yeah, so I introduced him to a bunch of folks.
It's
and
incredible.
And so yeah, so we were both on the entrepreneurial journey together, and a lot of times we would help each other out. I'd say if you went back and counted, Nick helped me a lot more than I helped him. But certainly, we were on the shared journey together as entrepreneurs, trying to figure out how to go from being. I'd never worked at a startup, like unlike Nick, who started a company before. I'd never worked at a startup, and so this was my first startup experience. So I looked to Nick for a lot of advice. I still remember some of these old emails where asking him about, hey, what is a bank I should pick? And he was very, very generous with his time. He introduced me to so many VCs as I was fundraising. Yeah. Anytime I had questions about how to position a certain, position with a certain VC, I'd call him and, we'd meet up and he'd give me a lot of advice.
And you had founded, you were running Tact AI.
That's right.
First foray in the AI world.
Exactly. And by the way, I just connected the dots. You're my successor at Gainsight. I was your successor at Excel. So there you go.
Oh, the circle is complete.
It's full circle.
Like a Freaky Friday, isn't it?
It is. Freaky Friday's coming out again. So,
yeah, exactly.
So then the completing the story, then, 2 years ago, almost exactly, I was looking for, actually, initially it was just a chief product officer. We had incredible product leadership, but had stepped down. So we needed something new. And we did a search, and then the search firm, got to thank them so much. They were like, actually, this guy is not a chief product officer, much more than that. But I think you know him, Chuck Ganapathi. I was like, oh my God, Chuck, would he talk to us? That was my reaction. I was like, Chuck would talk to us? And then he's like, yeah, I think he just sold his company, because you just said sold Tact. And I was like, wow. And then we went for endless walks around my neighborhood, right?
That's right.
I don't know how many walks we went on. There was a lot of walking.
Many miles. And I always have trouble keeping up. Those of you, I'm sure you've done this with him. Nick's one-on-ones are always on walks and he's walking it. I can't keep up. I can barely talk. And he's like,
yeah, I don't believe that. I know you were an athlete in high school. We'll get there later.
We'll get that.
So what told you at the time that, Chuck is the guy?
It was kind of interesting because it was just like a no-brainer really quickly. It was kind of like more like, how can we get him? Let's get him. And it was a mix of different things. It was like, okay, I started with the chief product officer role, but actually I always wanted a true business partner. And I also wanted a successor because at that point, I'd been doing it about 11 years. And I was like, I knew I'd eventually want somebody to be able to take over, but just somebody to partner with, like another founder, another entrepreneur, and it was like, wow, this guy's so much more than a chief product officer. It was like, of course he could also run engineering, but also, took on marketing, corporate development and services and support and all these different things. Right. And, but it was more just like, I could actually have a business partner. And what really opened my eyes, I would say there's two things actually. One was, we have candidates present at the end, and Chuck had an awesome presentation. Whereas just he really understood the space. He'd done a lot of research and put the time in. It's very incredibly smart. But the other thing which I really appreciated was when we went to, I think it was dinner at Reposado in Palo Alto. Yeah. And I asked you, what are people going to say about you? Tell me what your promoter is going to say about you, but also what are your detractors going to say? And Chuck was extremely self-aware, and he's like, well, here's my detractors and here's what they're going to say.
I think my detractor list was longer than my promoter.
You gave me a long list.
I prefer not to gloss over it. What did you say?
Well, you said it was that you were sometimes too hardcore, something like that. And it's funny because I called all those people and they were all huge fans of Chuck. And they were like, yeah, he was hardcore, but he figured out how to balance it over time. And, there was this that self-awareness to be like, yeah, this is who I am. And I asked that question to every candidate. Not everyone is open about what their detractors would say.
Yeah, and then for me, I had just sold Tact in end of 2023. And it was a long run. So I feel you. I know what you're going through.
Right.
Because I went
You
through
did for a
that
decade, right?
for a decade.
Yeah.
And 2023, November, we sold Tact. And I decided not to join the company that acquired us. And I felt like I needed a break.
Yeah.
All the recruiters that were calling me at that time were pitching me CEO jobs of, mid-stage software companies. And I just said, you know what? I can't do this right now. Like, for the sake of my own mental health, I need to take a break, because the CEO job is it's a lonely job. It's a hard job. So I know what you've been going through, and I think I'm so happy that you're getting a chance to take a break and take care of yourself and your family.
you.
I just needed to do that for myself back in 2023. So I took a break. I said, I'm not going to take any interviews. I'm not taking another CEO job. I'm just going to focus on myself and my family.
Yeah.
And then this one recruiter called me and he said, hey, do you know Nick? I was like, of course I know Nick. I've known Nick since 1998.
Well, we all know Nick.
Or everybody knows Nick. But the thing is, everybody thinks they're Nick's best friend.
Right.
But he just has this way of making people feel so connected to him that it endears them to Nick, and it's wonderful what he's able to do and the connections he's been able to build. And so when the recruiter basically said, hey, Nick has got a role he'd love to talk to you about, I was like, I don't care what role it is. Like, Nick and Gainsight, of course. So then we started doing our walks, and it became clear that this is going to be an awesome opportunity for me.
I love that. I love that. In my mind, there's this snowflake moment going on right now. Just last year, about a year ago, you had Frank Slootman, who was, brought Snowflake, CEO of the company, had brought them to the next level, had taken them public, was a very outspoken face of the company. He stepped aside. He passed the torch on to Sridhar Ramaswamy, who was, more product driven, AI driven, really to kind of run this next chapter of the company. And at first, the stock dropped 20 points, 20%, I think, in like the first week or so. Since then, Sridhar's taken the company to its first $1 billion quarter, and he's doubled the profitability of the company. In my mind, I was thinking before, is this a Steve Ballmer to Nadella moment? To me, that is kind of the analogy that comes to mind. I don't know, Nick, does that resonate with you?
I love how you pick my arch rival as the analogy.
Yeah, despite all that stuff.
We don't say his name
Way
here.
to go, Josh. I'm
We'll
like
redact
storming
that.
out of this interview right now. No, obviously Frank Slootman's a legend. The joke, if people didn't get it, is like he did in his book, which is actually quite good on like business, called Amp It Up. He had a chapter about why you shouldn't do customer success, and obviously that's the one area I disagree with. But he mad respect for him. I mean, a legendary, all-time great CEO, I can't hold a candle to him. But I think there is a lot of learnings from CEO transitions. I thought we were going to go Ballmer to Satya, because I think that is going to be our future. $4 trillion market cap, here we come, right?
All right.
But whether it's Ballmer, Satya, or any of these, right? The truth is that like great organizations are be able to bring in the right leader for the next phase, and then like continue to thrive, right? And I actually personally think like one of the best tests of CEO to me, or any leader, is the organization thrive after you're gone? I think that's it's like you want that to happen. So I know it's going to happen here. And whether it's Snowflake or Microsoft or anyone else, I know this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I know. Nick is very humble, as you know. So what he fails to mention is, much like Frank Slootman created a category, Nick and the early Gainsight team, as part of this customer success community, created a category, right, called customer success, CSPs. And we built an amazing business based on that. And I think this idea that sometimes you create categories and then the category transforms, much like Snowflake had to transform itself for the AI world. When Snowflake was started, there was no AI. It wasn't built for the AI world. Yeah. It was more like the next generation of data warehouse. Now, 10, 15 years later, with the introduction of AI, what does that mean to Snowflake? So every company has this moment where it's founded on one idea, and then it's founded again.
It's a refounding.
It's a refounding. It's where another technology shift. These platform shifts happen every 15 or 20 years, and we're going through one right now. And that moment gives us a chance to rethink what the industry is, what the space is, what kind of what does a company have to do to evolve to doing that. And it does require going back to basics. One of the folks I admire is Mike Spicer, who, by the way, Nick used to work for Mike way back in the day,
Yeah.
right? Legendary
It's unreal.
investor, legendary operator. He talks about how as a builder of things. When building things for the first time, when you start a company, is hard. It's even harder when you have to build again.
So hard.
And so that to me is a really exciting opportunity, and that's what Sridhar's doing. And I won't, I'm not going to compare myself to Sridhar, although he went to college like 5 years, 5 minutes from where I
really?
live. Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah. In Chennai, he went to IIT Madras, and I live 5 minutes away from that. And he's few years older than me and way more accomplished than me. So I'm not going to compare myself to him, but it does give us a template of what happens to these companies when there are secular shifts that are happening in technology.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, Chuck's had a lot of autonomy, authority. He's done some really big things in the past 18 months since you brought him in. You really gave him that rope, right? You knew he was the guy going into the position, to fill those shoes. What has further given you more evidence that he really, what have you seen from him in the past 18 months? That this is definitely the guy.
It's funny because I have this vivid memory where like you joined and you remember like we had like 2 offsites the first week that you were on.
Yeah.
Well, on AI. It was actually all on AI.
Yeah.
And I was like, how does he know everything about what we're talking about? And he just joined. And it's funny because you almost like broke the mold for anyone else I'll ever hire in a future job. Because I was like, now I expect everyone to be fully up to speed on everything on day one. It's obviously not realistic. I'm understanding if anyone's listening. But like the first thing was just a very, very quick study. And you got to be, right? Like part of this is that you have to keep up. And like the world is changing so much just in the 2 years you've been here. Yeah. My gosh, where we were with AI versus now, where Gainsight was with AI versus now, it's just night and day. And so number one was just the intellect. Number two was the relentlessness to just do whatever it takes. I mean, another vivid memory, it's widely known that we very fortunate to have SAP as one of our flagship customers and also partners. And they rolled it out enterprise wide. And, you were like a few weeks in, flying to Germany, doing a workshop with them, building this great relationship, marshaling the team, inspiring the team. So this, number two is the relentlessness. But then number three was the heart. And as much as you were saying like, the reputation of Salesforce being hardcore, I mean, you were like the biggest sweet softie in the world on the inside. And like just the caring for me, for the colleagues, for our customers, and the relationships he was able to build so quickly. And that's a lot of what we aspire to be at Gainsight, is a combination of like the strategic, intelligence, all that, the relentlessness and the heart. So it's sort of like, wow, this guy fits in so well, but doesn't just fit in, it's going to make us better.
My detractors would have said like I was very hardcore, very intense, and Salesforce trains you to be that way. A lot of my friends who have worked at Salesforce will tell you stories about that. And I think one of the things that I found so amazing about Gainsight is when I first heard the mission statement, I was like, this is the most bizarre mission statement I've ever heard for a company, because it didn't have anything to do with customer success. It didn't have anything to do with software or SaaS. It didn't have anything to do with technology. And the mission statement was, we want to be living proof that you can win in business while being human first. To me, I was like, this is very different. And Nick and the team have built a very different kind of company. So, I feel very fortunate to be part of this business and this community and this culture that Nick has created.
And it is a watershed moment now, and you're at the helm. What is the next chapter for Gainsight?
Oh, well, I think, I've been fortunate to have been part of multiple platform shifts. When I started my career, actually before business school, I worked for a consulting company doing mainframe implementation. So I actually started my career in mainframes in the early 90s. And then after business school, I went to Siebel and got to see the shift from mainframe to client server computing, which was amazing. And Siebel was a massively successful company at that time, fastest growing technology company in the world in 99, 2000. And I learned a lot from that. But again, in 2006, I left Siebel and joined Salesforce and got to be accidentally part of another monumental technology shift, platform shift from client-server computing to cloud computing. So I've seen these shifts and a couple of times, and what great companies do to navigate them. And some companies don't do so well, and so other companies survive. And in The Innovator's Dilemma, classic book that we've all read and we follow, I'm a hugely curious about that. I'm a student of that. So when I saw what was going on with AI, and this is, I'd started Tactile.ai in early to 2012, 2013 timeframe, and we started doing AI in 2015. We started with mobile, and then we started doing AI in 2015. This is way before LLMs.
Yeah.
Like we were like handcrafting our own NLP
This is
system.
real AI. This is before the gold rush. Yeah.
Pre-transformer.
Well, before, I mean, LLMs is real AI too, but pre-transformer.
Yeah.
So this is before the attention is all you need paper, right? So this is, early, old school AI, what people call GoFi, good old fashioned AI, right? That's what we did. And, I learned it was the right idea, but the technology wasn't ready yet. And the top market wasn't ready yet. But I learned a lot from that. But then when ChatGPT launched, it was right about the time I sold Tact. So
timing.
it was perfect timing. I was like, oh my God, all these things we've been struggling with at Tact for the last 7-8 years, boom, you could just do it. The transformer model, the AI model, just do it. And for me, this was another shift that was going to transform the industry, transform our lives. I think in a way that's far bigger than anything I've seen before, whether it's going from mainframe to client server or client server to the cloud, or even cloud to mobile and social. All of those things changed our lives. The way we operate our jobs, our businesses, and our lives all changed with every single one of those. But this shift is going to be 10x that.
How is it going to have the greatest impact on customer success?
Well, I think if you think about customer success, we have always looked at it as a way to throw people at the retention problem. The early days of customer success was at Salesforce, and you were there right when it happened, and you saw what was coming, and you built this company where you could take these people that are immensely talented, but they're kind of not your traditional roles. You're not sales, you're not in customer support, so you kind of need to be a jack of all trades. You have to be able to sell the customer, you have to be able to support the customer, you have to be able to build a relationship with the customer and the end users, drive adoption. So you have to be a jack of all trades to be really successful in
And it's different
success.
everywhere you go. Customer success.
Everywhere
There's no
you go,
unique,
so different. It's so different. It's I've built software for salespeople and customer support my whole life. Okay. Customer success is so different and it's so hard because the job of customer success is so hard because you have to be really a jack of all trades and you have to be able to be good at so many things to drive the ultimate success for the customer. You own it. You're the CEO of that relationship. And that's a tough job. And so to me, we've hired these amazing people to do those jobs, and we've built a practice around it. We built a community around it. We built the workflows and the software that supports and provides the scaffolding for those workflows. Amazing. Great. But where do we go from here? What happens to those customers that you cannot serve with this model of engagement with human CSMs? Right? Then in the last few years, again, Gainsight pioneered digital customer success. So we've invested in technologies that allows you to reach your customers digitally through email channels, through a community forum, through online learning and education. All these are amazing investments we've made, the industry's made, and our customers have invested heavily in. It allows us to scale the human element to a next level. And that got us to the second phase of customer success. I think there's a massive unexplored opportunity in the long tail. And the only way you're going to be able to get to the long tail is through agents and AI agents. That's what I'm most excited about. And I think it's a huge opportunity for the industry, for our customers, to be able to take even your smallest customer in the long tail and treat them like your most important customer. You can't do that with humans. You can't do that with digital. You need AI agents for that. And we didn't have the technology until 2-3 years ago. I mean, actually, I'd say until last year.
Yeah.
ChatGPT couldn't do what agents can do today. And that is a watershed moment for our customers, for our industry, for our community, and for Gainsight.
We've all read the Reddit forums, the LinkedIn posts in the comments, the webinars and the forums that are been out there. And a question that's on many people's minds: will AI replace the humans?
I think AI is taking my job as the next CEO, right?
Yeah.
Should we just
see.
hire as an AI CEO?
I thought about that actually. Yeah, I think you maybe we'll give you a little bit of a probationary period. We'll compare the two and just see.
Exactly. We'll do a performance.
We thought about Grok 4, but thought that might not play.
Chuck
well,
is actually just a hologram, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I think this whole AI will replace all jobs. Humanity is going to be sitting around in this utopia. I just don't think that's the reality. I feel like the agentic era is really about labor reimagination, not labor displacement. So if you think about what we do as humans, there's an element of it that's all about relating to other humans. There's an element of it that's grunt work that you don't want to do. There's an element of it are things that you have to do, but you're not very good at in that role, because you again, if you're a CSM and you have to be a jack of all trades, you may be great at relationship building, but you may not know the product as well, right? And you certainly don't want to be doing the grunt work. How do you take apart these roles and take away the grunt work, take away the things that AI is really good at, so that the humans can focus on things that only humans can do? And AI is not going to replace that.
Strategy.
That strategy, the relationship, the understanding, the empathy for the customer. That's the human thing. And so until we get to a point where the entire world, my agent is talking to your agent, I'm not worried about job replacement. I think that's a red herring issue. Okay. And I think it's really about trying to see how humans and AI agents to work together to deliver the business outcomes that companies need.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, I'm like, does any company think that their retention rate is high enough? No, it's not. Everyone wants to improve the retention rate. Agents can help with that. Does any customer feel like they're getting enough attention for their vendor? No. Everyone wants more help and more attention. Does any employee feel like they have not enough customers and they have too little to do every day? No, they're overwhelmed. Yeah. And what's awesome is AI agents are going to help in all three of those.
Absolutely.
Do we think we can predict a headline for the future of Gainsight in 5 years? I know that's a really tough question, that the rapid speed that everything is evolving. What would be your best bet?
What do you think, Nick?
5 years?
Yes.
I can't make a bet for 5 years. Can you figure out what's going to happen in 5 minutes from now, Chuck?
I think the world is changing so fast that it's incredibly hard to see what the future is going to look like. And it's kind of scary, to be honest, right? This is a part of the reason I'm so excited about this role and this time in my life and in the world is that there is so much uncertainty, and I thrive in uncertainty, and I think we all do. There's this magical world that we think that we can create together, and I think we have more questions than answers for what that's going to look like. But what I can tell you for sure is this: when moments of change like this happen, the ones that are going to thrive are the people that are going to act fast and learn, and most importantly, listen to the customer, right? You can never go wrong when you listen to the customer. And every example I've seen in previous generations of platform shifts is the customer will show you the way. And to me, as customers think about, all the employee experience, what the experience they want to deliver to their customers, I think our job at Gainsight, and I think all software entrepreneurs and CEOs' job is to be always listening to the customer and moving fast and learning and iterating, because this time of change means that the old playbooks are gone. Everything we know about product development, marketing, sales, even customer success, all of that has to be rethought for this new world of agentic. And I think the companies that will do really well are the ones that are constantly learning. And I hope Gainsight is able to do that.
I know it will, under your leadership.
We need to embrace the change. We all know about Nick. We know he's a Swiftie,
Really?
That's what I've been told.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
He likes fashion. He wears his emotions on his sleeves. I'd like us to get to know Chuck.
All right.
Straight from the source.
What would you like to know?
Well, I don't want to know anything from you. Okay. I wanted to know from a more valid source, perhaps, which is your better half, your wife. No, not Nick, your wife, Uma.
Wait, are we phoning a friend?
No, I don't think we have that production value here. We don't have the live phone.
I think she's at work.
Yeah.
She's a doctor.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
doing
She's a
something
very
more
important doctor.
More important than a
Other
podcast, I think. Yeah.
Hey, I'm not going to feel slighted at that, Nick.
Yeah.
But no, I did reach out to her. Said we traded emails. We spoke.
Oh, no.
Today. And the first thing I asked her was for some fun facts, some things that people might not expect to know about Chuck.
Do I get a chance to retort?
At the end. At the
Okay.
end. At the end. I have
Just
a-
listen, Chuck.
Okay.
So they're not all so spicy, but they're fun. So in her words, he's the 9th kid to his parents. He was close to 12 pounds when he was born.
What?
Also true.
Oh my gosh.
He's the first one in his family to attend college. And I want to talk
I
more a
didn't
little
know
bit about
that.
that.
These are good. These are good for me too.
Yeah.
Wow.
This one, I'm trying to imagine her tone as she's writing it. He was a total heartthrob in high school,
Oh God.
according to his high school friends.
A heart?
Are we going
Chuck!
there?
So that's an area where you and I were a little bit different. Don't think I was heartthrob at all.
You've got many followers, Nick. I think you've made it there.
LinkedIn didn't exist back then.
Well,
It wasn't the right time.
friend, he was an all-around athlete in high school, which is why I don't believe you when you say you can't keep up with Nick's walks. He's even now he's a stellar tennis player. He still beats our varsity son on the high school tennis team, and he loves, all caps, loves to shop. 3 exclamation points.
So that is something we do have in common.
His shoe closet is probably as big as mine. His favorite are Lululemon and Vori. Totally into athleisure wear. So I didn't
Did
realize.
you say overly?
Totally into
Totally athleisure.
Maybe overly as well.
Yeah, maybe overly. I don't know. I love athleisure. I didn't realize. Did you guys know that you shared that commonality for shoes for loving?
Well,
nice shoes?
Chuck's always dressed well, but I didn't know I didn't know shopping was your thing. Because why are we even doing this stuff? Let's just go shop right now.
We should just go shop right now. Yeah. I was in South Korea and Japan the last couple of weeks. It's shopper's heaven.
Oh, I'm jealous.
All
I'm
those
jealous.
beauty shops out there. Yeah. Okay. Well, so anything you want to retort?
Well, I don't know about the heartthrob thing. I think that's just.
I'd embrace that one, Chuck.
Yeah, come on, dude. Own it.
No, she's mostly right. I think she's right. I like I said, I did grow up in a big family and was the beneficiary of a lot of sacrifices from my siblings and my parents. We grew up without a lot of means, and so my siblings didn't get to go to college. So that is right. But because I had the benefit of being the last kid in the family had saved up enough to send me off to college. Wow. And so I've tried every moment to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And I'm always thankful for their sacrifices. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so attached to my family even now and my kids. And I also have a large family. I don't have 9 kids, but like my parents did, but we do have 4. Uma and I share 4 kids.
Yeah. Well, the next thing I asked her was about family moments. So tell us about some of Chuck's dad moments and family moments. First thing, he makes amazing pancakes for the kids. They prefer his
pancakes. Can I get some pancakes, by the way?
Yes, of course.
What do I got to do to get some pancakes, Chuck? I love pancakes.
Chocolate and banana.
All right, let's do them.
Oh,
You got it.
that sounds amazing. Yours are preferred to Uma's. Your kids prefer yours.
Yes, they do.
And you're very proud of that.
Yes.
But she wishes that you'd clean up a little bit more after.
I hate cleaning up. I hate doing the dishes.
Yeah, I mean, don't we all? You're the IT customer support guy for the entire household, also for the extended family in India.
Yes.
And your daughter is 12 going on 30 now. And now she won't let anybody touch her hair. But when she was younger, you were the one giving her the special stylish hairdos. And that was a very special moment between you
That's
guys.
so sweet. I love that.
And then I thought this was very sweet. The best part of Chuck is he's more attached to my parents and treats them like his own. He probably talks to them a lot more than I do.
Oh,
Clearly seeing some
that's
of them.
very sweet.
Yeah.
Very
That
sweet of
is
her to say that.
So, see, you're not just pure hardcore. There's a softer side of Chuck. I met Uma, by the way. She's phenomenal. So, very lucky to have her and the entire Ganapathi family.
You should have just done the podcast with her.
I would love that.
Right?
Can we do like a follow-on with her?
Sure.
That would be amazing.
How about you do a performance review with her and you?
The two of us reviewing you?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that is phenomenal.
That'd
I
be
love
fun. That'd be
this.
fun.
There we go. I mean, and listen, she's quite accomplished in her own
Yeah,
right.
she's
right?
a pulmonary specialist or what?
Pulmonary critical care.
Critical care.
She's the chief pulmonologist
So she's
at Kaiser
actually saving lives, not just what we do every day.
Yeah.
Although podcasting is important.
Hashtag boss family over here.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's a pretty impressive family. I'm
Yes.
in their house.
This is a power couple. Okay, let's wrap up the main segment. We're going to go on to some bonus footage, but I want to wrap up with some Mad Libs here. Both you guys filling in the blank for this statement. Nick, we'll start with you. This next chapter will be
legendary.
Well, that was the last chapter, Nick. You were legendary.
No, this is going to be this is going to be awesome. It's going to be it's so cool to imagine like a whole new phase, and obviously taking the best of what we have, this community, the values, the culture, the team, but then this whole new world that we're in. Yeah, it's going to be legendary.
Chuck, this next chapter will be,
I think, transformational.
Yeah.
You know, this transformation that we are going through as a community, as an industry, I think is more exciting than anything else I've seen in my career. So I'm just very thankful that this is an opportunity for us to do something so different, and that's going to be so transformational, not just to our customers, to our community, but also to the company. So I'm very, very bullish on our prospects, and agentic is the future.
Chuck Ganapathi, Nick Mehta.
All
Thank
right,
you
buddy.
guys. This was such a privilege.
It was
Thank you
so
much
good,
for
and I got
chatting.
a lunch date with Slootman now, so I got to go.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. We're wrapping up the main segment right now, but Nick's going to stick around, and we're going to go really deep into his legendary status and all the ins and outs of his time at Gainsight. So join us at gainsight.com/unlock. That's it for this episode of Unchurned. Thanks for hanging out. Follow the pod, rate 5 stars, leave a quick review, find us on YouTube, and share with your friends. That truly helps other folks find us. And for all the extras, transcripts, guest clips, deep dives, head to gainsight.com/unchurned. See you next time.